Welcome everybody to the Russian Grand Prix. This is the PS4 Elite Series on Race Spec Esports, and our championship is very much still alive. 14 drivers here today in a fairly interesting track. In real life it can be dull and it's not everyone's favorite track, but ironically enough in the PS4 game or in the Formula 1 game it is quite a good track to race on, and you get a fair bit of overtaking and wheel-to-wheel racing, so I'm quite excited for this one here. We have a few drivers heading out onto the track now, as we see Aaron out there, Spilly, and it looks like Chapalele and Geordie is out on the track as well in their familiar colors and representing their teams. So while they're doing their outlaps, let's have a recap of what's going on in this championship at the moment. We'll just bring up the driver standings here, and as you can see, Zach Crichton has now taken the lead in the championship, 179 points. Close behind is 40 on 172. Needs a really good race here today to keep that championship nice and tight. Chapalele had a disappointing end to the Singapore Grand Prix and he's fallen a little bit further back. Still not out of it. If he can put in a really good performance here, there's enough races left for him to hold the championship above his head. Spilly just slightly off the pace there, 104 points. Then we go down to Swaggy, Eye Contrast, Aaron, Matthew Dernier, Sammy Pepito, Darren 11, John Palainen, Miku, Toddstar, Plebs, Dougie Falcons, Crossy, Bullet Boy, and Geordie. And then we head over to the constructors standings, and very much like the drivers standings, it's very tight. Mercedes 221 points, Williams 192 points, Racing Point 173 points, and Renault 158. So although Racing Point aren't really challenging for the Drivers' Championship, they are still well and truly in it for the Constructors' Championship. So hopefully they can put in good performance here today with Spilly and Rhythms F1. It is all going to be about those secondary drivers, how many points they can pick up and who will be able to lift that Constructors' Championship. Toro Rosso, a little bit of work to do down the bottom there on 50. Red Bull have been making some gains recently, and Ferrari have fallen off the pace a little bit in recent times, so hopefully they can bounce back. Let's head back to the track now. We'll bring up a few details for us to look at. Who's fitted? It's generally a soft to medium here. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. And we'll bring up our full track map so we can see what's going on. Aaron is putting in a flying lap here. Let's stay on board with him for the rest of this lap and see how he goes. Looks like he's coming up to Eye Contrast. He'll begin his lap very shortly. See what time Aaron is able to put across here. He's just going to duck into the pits. In fact, must have invalidated. Quite easy to do at this track. Pure Gold is on a lap here. He's just really started his. And yeah, he's definitely on the fly to see what he can do. And that's what it's going to be about. Who can hold their medal and get a nice lap in here without invalidating, because it's so easy to do here. There's so much time to be gained by crossing over those curbs, but it is extremely easy to pick up an invalidation or a warning in qualifying and take your lap out of the running, as Chapalele has put in a 130.5. Just showing he's still there or thereabouts, and he'll be definitely fighting to the end for that championship. 40 put in a 131.1, possibly taking it a little bit easy there. Miku puts in a 131.1 as well, just a fraction, very slim fraction of a second ahead of 40. Following Chapalele, let's head down to Our Contrast is on a flyer, I believe, though it looks like he's possibly backed out a little bit. He has a lot of ERS there. Yeah, not really turning it up down this straight, so he's invalidated. That's going to be the story. Invalidations. This man hasn't. Swaggy, let's go on board here. So coming down, you want to go down into 5th, 4th there, depends. Some people use 4th, some people use 5th. And this is the exact same corner but in the opposite direction. So you want to take it the same down here, down into third. I'll try and go clip that. You can get quite a lot of that curve without getting an invalidation, but you don't want to touch the ripple strip on the left-hand side. That can slow you down quite a bit all the way down this straight. Tricky overtaking because you're not sure where the car in front of you is going to go to try and take this, and Swaggy is obviously invalidated before that, so possibly he did where I said he may not have. Geordie's on an outlap here. And Rhythms is still going strong, so we'll follow him right to the end. As we're sitting in the cockpit now. This is such a tricky corner as well. You come up, it's blind, it's uphill, and you can lose traction. If you get on the throttle a bit too much, the car just likes to swing. The back end really does slide out, so you've sort of got to glide through that chicane. And it's actually the fastest way to go through there is to glide through that uphill chicane. It doesn't feel like it when you're doing it, but it's definitely the fastest way is to cut both of those apexes and then glide through and accelerate once you're through the chicane. Hold that minimum speed up. He's done a couple of laps out on the track. He'll be coming in shortly, I assume, unless he's on another flyer trying not to invalidate. That is a really good tactic just for your banker lap, is to maybe fuel a little bit heavy in case you do invalidate. You can just quickly go around again. Just get a time on the board. That looks like he's going to go in, so invalidating as well. Not many people have put some big times in here. 30.5 is very quick from Chapelele straight up. And Miku and 40 and Zach putting in some good times there as well. And then start to drop off a little bit. Pure Gold can definitely go past that, and so can Samu Pepito. By contrast, is back on an outlap. Needs to get a banker in. A Ferrari driver. And I notice Swaggy is out. He'll start at the back. He must have had an accident. I did not notice that. He's either retired or he's completely out. Unless he has a qualifying ban that I'm not aware of, he will start at the back of the grid. So we still have 4 drivers who have not set a lap yet. I contrast Aaron, Plebs, and Geordie. So let's talk a little bit about strategy here. Definitely a soft to medium race, this one. Your mediums can last quite a long time. But when you're racing, it feels like you are ripping them up, but they don't wear as much as it feels. It's an odd sensation because you do feel like you're punishing those tyres a fair bit. But the mediums do last quite a long time around here. So there's plenty of scope for undercutting, and the undercut can be quite good as well if you can put together a good lap. Generally, laps 6, 7, 8, around there, looking for an undercut. So it'll be interesting to see what the leaders do, the people who are out in front, and the games that go on, whether they go in early and everyone follows them in, or if someone sees them go around and decides to go that lap early to try and get the undercut and overtake them in the pit lane. 2 main overtaking sections here. Down that main straight is quite easy. Huge DRS slipstream zone. And with that then horseshoe shaped left-hander, you can hold your position once you have overtake in there. Another reasonable overtake is the other straight. Can be quite tricky in the braking zone though, because as I said, it's a turning sort of braking zone. It's not straight and you're not sure where the car in front of you is. I found a lot of times I've gone to make a move and it just hasn't really been there. Because the cars just place themselves nicely and you're just not 100% sure. You don't really want to wreck your race right there. A contrast on his flyer as we're speaking. See what he's able to do. Go on board for the remainder. Now this is that tricky one. You sort of just want to flow through, just like he's doing here. You can lose traction quite easy. Really smooth on the throttle, I contrast. And he'll come down into third. Down into second here. Oh, hopefully he hasn't cut that. I think he did. I think he cut the last corner. Very disappointing. You have to go around again. Get back into the pits. Refuel that car. And this is Plebs, the Mercedes. He needs a really good showing here as well. Sacrificed his race a little bit in Singapore to give Zach Crichton that big buffer. The only one to start on the softs. And with a little bit of team orders and team, I guess, friendliness between teammates, they were able to build a little bit of a gap, and Zach Crichton was able to run away with that race, while the others had many incidents throughout it. What a choppy race, that one. So I'm quite keen to see what Plebs is able to do here. 131.9. In any other setting, that wouldn't be a shabby lap. That'd be quite good, but we are in the Elite Series. These guys are very quick, and he's got to deal with someone who's dealing 1.4 seconds quicker on pole in Chapelele. 130.5 first attempt. He's very quick. 40 still holding that spot. Miku Zach Crichton put in a 131.1. He'll feel he can go maybe a little bit quicker, break the end of the 130s for sure. The other flags, it just look like a few people letting other cars go past them, so no great drama. The drama so far, Swaggy starting from the back of the grid. That'll make it very interesting. Very quick driver here. This is your first time here with the PS4 Elite Series Race Spec Esports. This is the Elite Top Tier PlayStation grouping. There are no assists allowed in this. You're allowed a wheel or controller, and you can have corner racing line, although I know most of the field do not use the racing line. You can if you need it, if you're unfamiliar with the track or something like that. But overall, no assists are allowed in this league, and the majority, I'd say maybe 60-40, use wheel and then controller. So there's a fairly mixed field in terms of what medium they are using to get their cars around the track, but it's been fairly exciting this season. 40, Zach Crichton. Zach Crichton had a really slow start to the season. He's managed to get himself into the lead of the championship, but 40 won't be letting that one go too easy. And then Chapelele is not far behind. He had a bit of a mishap with Plebs in quite a notorious corner in Singapore, and set his championship hopes back a little bit. Not out of it though. Still 4 races remaining for him to bring that back. If you are watching, throw down some predictions in the chat. We'll read them out. Who's going to win your top 3? Any daring predictions? Something that's going to happen here in this race? So last season in the Elite Series, this was an absolute cracker. One of the races of the season. If you want to go back, watch quite an exciting race, I would pick up Season 1's Russian Grand Prix. It was just a past festival. They were all so close to each other. No one could break away because of the DRS zones. We had a safety car mixed in there as well, but it was people overtaking every single lap. It was hard to keep track of everything that was going on in the race, but top 10 were all right there with each other, and I think the penalties decided the finishing order. Sorry, we're watching the pit garage for a bit long there. We've got Miku at the moment in the Haas. He's had a fairly consistent season, Miku, if I don't say so myself. He's been there or thereabouts in nearly every single race, which is good to see for the Haas team. So Pepito down there, 132, he can go quicker than that. And Aaron's just put in a stonking lap of 130.7. That's pretty good for the Red Bull driver. Starting to find a bit of form, Aaron is, in recent races. I remember at the start of the season, I put him right up there to be in contention for the championship, but he just had a lot of bad luck, and a few risque moves that didn't quite come off. And sometimes you got to do that. You got to take those risks to get yourself in contention for the championship. But in this case, it's put him further down the field, but coming back into form in a rapid fashion in the last few weeks, that's for sure. I had a really solid race last week. .40 is coming out now. 2 minutes 45 left, so if you're not out now, you need to get a hurry on. So Crichton's still in the pits there. He comes out now. Rhythm's still in the pits. He might be staying there. Plebs is on an outlap and Sammy Pepito is on an outlap. Zach Crichton's the one we're going to watch, and 40 on their outlaps. 40 is just ahead. We'll switch between those two drivers. Is Chapelele coming out? Does not look like it. It looks like he has just informed his pit crew and said, I can't go much faster than that, fellas. Let's just sit here and see if they can beat me. No, as I say that, he's coming out now. Is that him down the pit lane? It is. Here he is. He'll get round and put a lap in. So we'll switch to Chapelele right at the end, depending on what happens here between our championship contenders, 40, Zach Crichton, and Chapelele. Of course, Rocket no longer with Williams after what happened during the week. There'll be a fairly new livery on that Williams. Whether they'll keep the colour scheme, yet to be seen. They might go back to the old white and black Williams possible. We'll have to wait and see what Claire Williams decides to do with that livery. When 40's about to start his lap here. Looks like Aaron has checked out. That's as fast as he can go, 130.7. And Miku's retired from the session. He's out. He's in the pits. So we go. 40's about to start his lap. Nice smooth start. And upshifting very smoothly as well. Get the maximum amount of speed down this straight. Such a huge straight here. Much like Azerbaijan. Not as long as Azerbaijan, but similar effect where it can have a huge impact on the race. And if you stay within that DRS zone, you're in a really good shot of staying with the lead pack. Right down into fourth here. Don't want to invalidate. Very nice. Close to that wall, taking every single inch. Try and go down to third here sometimes. Get that turn in. Staying into fourth. This is a high speed corner. You got to take this as much speed as you can. Exactly the same corner, just flipped over. And does the same thing. Very nice there. Very smooth, well done. Carry all that speed down. See how Zach Crichton's going here. He's in fact a little bit ahead. I thought it was the other way around. Zach's a little bit ahead. Let's see what lap he's able to do. So here comes the Mercedes. Is he able to get himself higher than fifth? Let's find out. And he's completely lost it over the line. And no, he must have invalidated. 40 goes pole at 1:30.522. And his Chapelele, is he able to do something better? There was a Toro Rosso possibly in his way there. Another Williams there, that would have been Crossy. No other changes. Billy's up there. Sammy Pepito did a nice lap at 1:31.2. And here comes Chapelele. Geordie's retired. He can't do any better. Let's find out. Is Chapelele going to put himself back on pole? He does, goes very wide around the outside, but a 1:30.3. Very nice indeed, as the wreck of the Mercedes is still on the track there. The only one left is Plebs, who must have invalidated, can't go faster. And that will be your order for this Russian Grand Prix. Chapelele getting pole, 40 on the front row with him. Then Aaron and Miku, then Zach Crichton. So he's got a little bit of work to do down this straight. And we'll have to see. It'll be very interesting at the start of this race who gets the toe and is able to take the lead. We saw that in real life with Vettel and Leclerc. Pole here doesn't often mean that you're leading into the first corner, that's for sure. So we'll have to wait and see what happens with that one. Chapelele on pole. And he is definitely lighting it up in the second half of this season. There we see front row will be Chapelele and 40. Second row, Aaron and Miku. Nice lap from Miku. Then Zach Crichton and Spilly. Sammy Pepito and Geordie. Pure Gold, Rhythms, Eye Contrast and Crossy. Rounding it out will be Plebs and Swaggy at the back of the grid. I will see you shortly for the formation lap. Let's go to our intro and then come back for the Russian Grand Prix. And we are back at Sochi for the Russian Grand Prix. Just waiting for the drivers all to ready up and hop onto the grid for the formation lap. We've just had in the chat Zach Crichton inform us that he has put the wrong setup on. Horrible mistake. The engineers have put the wrong setup on. Be curious to know which setup we put on instead of Russia, so we have something to compare it with, what tracks. But that will be a blow for the Mercedes. He'll be definitely racing against adversity for the remainder of this race. With possibly the wrong downforce setup, differentials, roll bars, the whole lot. Well, let's not take anything away from our pole leader, our pole sitter, Chapelele. Rhythms has left the session. That's not a good thing there. So Chapelele 40. Aaron and Miku, and the question will be who's going to lead down into this first corner. I said you get quite a good slipstream all the way down to the first corner, and it's often not the person who was on pole who leads this race after that corner. As I said, it's one of those quirks where you do get quite good racing in this race on the esports, and Rhythms is back on the esports medium, but in real life it can be quite dull. Once they break away from that DRS zone, it's very hard to catch up, and I think that's just a symptom of the F1 cars and the drag profiles when you get close to them. There's a lot of corners here, apart from that massive straight where being close to the car in front, you get a lot of heat and your car heats up and you have to back off, and once you back off you can fall out of the DRS zone and then you're not able to catch back up, just because of what's going on with the drag and the wind going over the cars and unsettling the car behind. So hopefully we fix all that in 2022 when we see a new style of F1 car come into play with a bit more friendly racing in terms of being able to punch through the wind and not get so unsettled when following a car in front. So last few corners here. Chapelele will lead us out the Renault, and then 40, and then Zach Crichton got it all to do in 5th place. He'll be starting just behind Aaron in the Red Bull. John Poloinen has joined as well, so in 15th, John Poloinen joined late. Here I'm sure he'll try some alternate tactical strategy. And you can see a safety car here. It's not unusual to see a safety car here with a fairly significant shunt into the wall, so the drivers will have to keep that at the back of their mind as well. Here we go. See if we can get a good angle for the start here. This is perfect. 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 lights. Lights are out and we're racing in the Russia Grand Prix, the Elite Series Race Spec Esports. Chapelele gets a really good start. 40 tries to cover off. He gets bumped from Aaron. Aaron would have had to know he was there. Both trying to get the slipstream from the Renault, and Aaron's going to cut all the way across to the other side of the track. Spilly's trying to find a way through as well, and Chapelele's done a really good job of holding that position. Fair bit of squabbling behind maybe helped him out, and a few wheel taps from some other drivers, but Chapelele's held that down to the first corner, which is really well done from the Renault driver, although 40 is all over the back of him at the moment. And Aaron is still in that 3rd place. Miku, not too many position changes. Zach Crichton was a big loser there from 5th down into 7th. Swaggy's had some issues. Crossy's jumped up And let's bring up our position change. There we go. And as you can see, Spilly's jumped up. Same with Pito. Zach Crichton has dropped down too, so he wasn't going so great down that straight, and that could be some of his problem. He might have some extra downforce, which means he could be rapid in the second sector of this race, but really will struggle to overtake and be overtaken if he does have a little bit extra downforce than the other cars in this race. Chapelele holding on to the lead at the moment. Remember, no DRS until 2 laps into the race. And we have Rhythms right at the back. Something must have happened with him, and Swaggy is still trying to catch up there as well. So something happened right at the back of the grid. Somu Pepito went very wide around turn 1. Probably copped the penalty for that. Rejoined the track okay though, it looked like. As we go around in a leisurely order here, and I think this is the beginning of this race, this format, where you'll see quite a large train and a lot of people won't be able to break out from each other. Hard to get away. 40's sitting there nicely behind Chapelele, just tucked in. And Rhythms has retired, not able to complete the race. So again, 40. So he had a helmet change there. Not sure, I think he had something different. That's interesting. Aaron, he hasn't had a helmet change. He's had that lime green for the entire time. Very striking in the Red Bull. As we see him come around. Spilly doing quite well there too. Miku. And I'll just slot in behind each other here. Samu Pepito in the pink helmet. Fairly good start. Zach Crichton, he's slotted into 7th, and this could really shake up the championship here. If it stays like this, Chapelele and 40 will get a nice little increase to their point totals, and it'll really tighten up, that's for sure. So we've fallen into quite a nice formation here, and this is the danger. Although we normally can get some good racing here, we can also have this effect, which happens in real life, where we get some just formation running really, and no one can get past each other. Close enough, but not too close. This 40's going to stay behind on this lap. So we've got DRS now. And then McLaren went wide again there, and he's lost out to Zach Crichton. Just really struggling with that turn 1 there, Samu Pito. The inside, who's behind there, and is Pure Gold going to hold on to this? Looks like he will. Pure Gold's going to get past Geordie. By contrast down the back there as well. Plebs has had a reasonable start too. He's up into 11th there. Managed to get past Crossy and Jumpalainen. Heading back to our lead pack here. Chapelele and 40. 40 just sitting pretty here. He knows that he just has to stick with Chapelele. And then the mind games will begin around that lap 6, lap 7, when who's going to pit. Don't forget, not long until F1 2020, just over a month away. New race, new liveries, bit of different physics. It'll really shake it up. Race Spec will have many different leagues and tiers for you to join and get involved. So I suggest you do. It's a fantastic series and league, very well organised and a lot of fun. Seeing a few different changes here because Pilgard's gone into the pit. I think he's had some sort of incident where he's had to change his wing. Not great to have that happen. Trying to lose the drag here is Miku. And he's gone very wide there. High contrast won't be too pleased with that. Doing a lot of zigzagging down that straight. It's not ideal. Very hard to overtake when you're not sure where the car in front is going. You don't want too many double moves, or you'll be heading to the steward's office for a please explain. And Miku's got past that Crichton, I believe. No, that Crichton's still there past Samu Pepito. He's right up the back though of Miku. What's he going to be able to do? He needs to catch up to the guys in front. Sepalele and 40 have gapped Aaron here, 2.3 seconds. And that's going to make it very hard for Zach Crichton to catch up. And even if he does get past this pack that he's chasing at the moment, I mean, that gap will be insurmountable. So at the front of this pack, and it's Aaron who's sort of holding everyone up. A little bit of a trolley train. If you're not familiar with that term, you should go back. And Zach Crichton's come in. Zach Crichton's come in very early. He thinks he can go to the end on mediums from now. So he does not want to be stuck behind Aaron's train. As I was saying, the trolley train was a term. I know Trolley used to have rapid qualifying pace. He was a very good one-lap driver. But then in the race, he was actually quite slow. People wouldn't be able to get past him. Very good defensive driver as well. And he'd these trains that people coined the trolley train. That's what's happening here a little bit with Aaron. He's not able to keep up with Chapelane and 40. In fact, it's 2.8 seconds now. As Swaggy gets a penalty, first penalty for the day. That won't be unfamiliar for us to see down the bottom of the screen. But it'll be interesting to see. And we've got yellow flags. Who's that? Geordie. Geordie's had an accident. And he is ghosted. He's just turned around. I wonder how much damage he has, or if he's just done a full 360 there. It looks like a bit of carbon fibre on the track up there. Yeah, he's lost an end plate. So he's going to have to come into the pits. He won't. It's not too bad of a time to have an accident. I mean, there's never a great time to have an accident. But if you are, it may as well be within the pit window, which it is now. So he'll pit, get a new wing, and put the mediums on and go to the end in all likelihood. And let's see what our front guys are going to do. This is a time where the cat and mouse, the bit of the games, the mind games. Are you going to pit? Are you not going to pit? What is Chapelele going to do? Is he going to pit? He fakes it and then stays. Little jink there to see what 40 would do. 40 just held the line, didn't even move. No flinching there. Ice cold was 40, and they go round again. Very interesting with Chapelele, the little dink into the pits. But no one was falling for that on this lap around. 40 doesn't really want to overtake. He knows that he'll be a bit of a sitting duck if he does overtake. And Billy's doing quite a good job as well. They're right behind Aaron. I don't want to leave these two because I know I'll do the commentator's curse. If I do leave these guys, something will happen. But let's have a look at our secondary pack. So Bito's still hasn't caught up to the back of this little train here. It's 1.3 seconds away. So it's Aaron, Spilly and Miku. Zach Crichton went for the big undercut, and he came out in a lot of air actually. He's 9 seconds behind John Polainen, and there's a 9-second gap between him and Swaggy as well. So he's got some free track to play with, which isn't too bad. I mean, you're not getting the drag down the straight from the guy in front, but you're also not getting all that dirty air through the second sector, which can really slow you down a little bit. Oh, Spilly just having a little look here. He's very close. Aaron defending. Let's see if any of these guys pit this time. And 40's pit. So Chapelele stayed out at 40's pit. And who else has come in there? Looks like Miku has come in. So let's see the distance between Zach and 40. And 40's going to have to really gun it here on this outlap and try and get the undercut done. Using the Williams. So go right to the end here. Didn't seem like they were ready. Bizarre. Some really bizarre graphics. Hopefully they tighten that up in F1 2020. But a nice quick pit stop with no actual men doing any work. Interesting. Miku's coming out as well. He's not too far behind. And let's see how far Zach Crichton behind is. He's just down there, so he can see him. He's not too bad. He did get a little bit of an undercut there. His tyres will be worse off near the end of the race. That's not too bad for Zach Crichton. He's 3 seconds behind. It was a bit bigger than that, the gap, by a second or two. So probably a good move for 40 to come in, because Zach was making some really good progress out there in the clean air, and now 40 has really nice clean air. So Chapelele is going to have to come in As we go back up to the top. And Mick is going to get a good run on Aaron and Spilly as well. I feel like they've stayed out too long also. Lap 6 or 7 feels like the one you need to come in on. Otherwise you're at very high risk of getting undercut. And what's Chapelele going to do? He's staying out again. Well, this is an interesting tactic. Let's see how it plays out. You may know something that we don't know up in the commentaries box. Aaron, a 5-second penalty speeding the pit lane. Costly. So costly. I know when I do that, I am furious with myself. It is so unnecessary, and it's a huge difference on track. Even more so in the Elite Series where everyone is so close to each other. But Spilly, Sammy Pepito also in the pits. Where are they all going to come out? Oh, they come out into each other, and that was very close for Spilly. Nearly got in front of Aaron there, but they're all still glued to each other. And look at that. Zach Crichton has leapt all of them from that undercut. Brilliant strategy there from the Mercedes driver. Not catching 40 though, but now that they're on the same set of tyres, but really good. He didn't battle anyone. There's no risk in the undercut in terms of crashing into each other, and he's just jumped 3 cars by going in that lap early. If he can hold on to these tyres, treat them quite nicely to the end of the race, he's done really well there. Let's just bring up, we don't really need to see position changing, but let's bring up tyres now, because Plebs is still on the softs and Chapelele is still out there. Everyone else is on the medium. So Crossy, Contrast and John Polone have gone reverse strategy. And so it looks like 40's just skated past John Polone in there quite nicely down the straight. Easy overtake. John Polone wasn't fighting that one. He knew not his fight. Would have just slowed him down if he had off. As you see, the Williams driver will come around to end lap 9. Chapelele's in the pit, so let's see where he comes out. I feel like he stayed out a little too long. You'd want to be rapid near the end of this race on those fresher mediums. Oh, he's managed to stay out in front of 40, although 40's going to have a run on him. He covers it off. And that's really well done from Chapelele. He put in some really good laps on those old softs. I felt for sure he was going to be undercut by 40, but not to be. And he's sitting pretty now. Oh, 3-second penalty though. That's a little bit of a worry. Don't want too many of those, otherwise all your good work on track can come unstuck. But really well done. And Zach has made a little bit of ground, but not quite enough. In fact, it just blew out over 3 seconds again as we were speaking. Mick is falling behind here, but he did overtake. So he's undercut Aaron and Spilly after they pit. So really good strategy there from him as well. There's been quite a few little master strokes going on, and definitely I thought Chapelele was going to lose out, but he must have done some really good laps on those worn softs. I mean, if your tyres feel good, you may as well just stay out. If you can keep doing good laps, just do it, because you're going to have better tyres at the end of the race, and he knows what he's doing. He was doing good lap time, so he stayed out. We did see him do that little jink into the pits to try and get 40 to go in early, so he was trying to fake him out to make him go in. He didn't want 40 behind him. His Plebs in here, the last of the soft runners. Jumper Linen. He's doing a 2-stop bar, looks like Jumper Linen. Medium, soft, medium. Maybe had a bit of damage. He's come in and put soft some. So Plebs. Is he going to stay ahead of Swaggy? Where is Swaggy? There he is. Making rapid gains. He's going to have to cover him off, and he does. And he's going to stay in 10th. So he's in the points at the moment, which will help Mercedes on their way to the Constructors' Championship. Crossy at the moment has not pit on the alternate strategy, so it'll be battling mainly with Crossy, trying to work out where he will be at the end of the race. On Contrast, also still out there. They're the last two guys on the medium tyres. the alternate strategy. Pure gold, 3-second time penalty. We'll check all these penalties after lap 20 just to see what's going on, who's where, and who will leapfrog any of the other drivers. Let's go to our race leader, Chapelele here, still being chased, hunted by 40. I feel like this is going to be relentless for the entire race. It'll be all about where 40 will make his move. If he can stay within that 1 second, he's got that move. Anytime he wants it down that large straight, just needs to turn everything up, really go for it. And saying that, let's bring up the telemetry just so we can see. He's spending a lot to stay with Chapelele though. It's down under 10%, so maybe it's not as cruisy as it looks out on track inside the cockpit of that Williams car. We use a lot to stick with Chapelele, who's been really fast. His second half of the season's been outstanding. In fact, since Germany, I think Chapelele's been really consistent and really fast, which has been great for the series. So there's a little bit of congestion down here. Miku, Aaron, Spilly, Samu Pepito's caught up as well. If they keep fighting like this, Plebs might be able to stick on the end of this train here. And Spilly has not been able to get past Aaron. Showed really good qualifying pace, but it's just dropped off a little bit now. His race pace is not quite as good as his one lap quali pace. See what he's able to do. And Samu Pepito's in sort of a bit stuck here. He doesn't want to make a big move on Spilly. It'll just be sort of where he was originally, but he's going to have to make a move at some point. Chapelele sets the fastest lap of the race. He's 1.6 second. He's just turned it on. Absolutely turned it on. 40 is way outside of DRS range now. Let's see if there's any overtakes down here though. Did 40 make a mistake, or has Chapelele just gone to the next level? He was keeping a little bit in reserve, possibly. No one makes a move there. So yeah, 40 now, 1.8 seconds behind. Chapelele's just gone next level on this and just broken away. Put in some really good laps. These must have been the laps he was doing on those older soft tyres. Just ripping away from 40 at the moment. There's not much the Williams driver can do about it. And if he's not careful, he's going to have Zach Crichton behind him soon as well. Although 4.2 seconds, I think it was a bit closer than that. So it looks like Zach is struggling, possibly from that setup. Just falling behind a little bit. Miku is 3.4 seconds behind Zach. So starting to string out a little bit here. The battle is definitely down here with Aaron, Spilly, and Samu Pepito. Miku in the mix at the front of this pack as well, after getting the undercut on Aaron and Spilly by changing one lap earlier to the medium tyres. As they come past the pit entry one more time. We're on lap 13 of 27. And is anyone going to make a move this time? Let's find out. Spilly's very close. Here we go. Staying right behind him. Is he going to make a move here? He's right there. He's going to have to, I think. Aaron's pushed him right out, and then he's gone against it. Put himself in a really awkward position there, Spilly, because Aaron was sort of nudging him towards the wall, and he couldn't cut back across and go around to the outside and make the move around the outside, which would have been the move, but he put the nose of his car in front of the rear of the Red Bull, so he couldn't do that swap across move, which might be an idea on the next lap, is to let the Red Bull sort of push him across, wait till he's in the middle of the track, and then really do a big swap back and go down the inside or the outside of that corner. Turns into the inside because of the chicane, and then you can hold it all the way around with those massive G-forces around that left-handed horseshoe. Other than that, Swaggy has caught up to Plebs. We did see him come out of the pits. Oh, a bit of a mistake there from Aaron. Spilly nearly collected him. Spilly really wants to get past this Red Bull. He feels like he's quick up. Let's see if what he's able to do down this time. Are we going to have an incident here? In the meantime, Chapelele's gotten past the eye contrast. It probably was a fairly easy overtaking. Now 40's got to have a look as well. Let's see. Yeah, Spilly's going to go down the outside this time. He's going to say, alright, I'm just going to burn straight past you, and he does. So Spilly gets the move done. What's Aaron going to do in response? Does he have the pace to stick with the Racing Point driver now? And based on the last few laps, I don't think so. I don't think there's that consistency in there. And Spilly, if he can get past Miku, he might be able to break away. I feel like he's got the pace. He could even catch Zach Crichton, although Zach is making a little bit of ground off 40, not much. It was 4 seconds when we last checked it a lap or two ago. Now it's 3.7, so probably not. They're just breaking even at the moment. But they, even now, after that Spilly overtake, they've started to really spread out a bit. Samu Pepito won't want to fall off the back of this pack here. He needs to really gun it in these last few corners to try and make sure he's still within that DRS zone. Oh, Spilly, has he hit the back? He has. He's hit the back of Miku. And now Aaron's taken advantage of that, because Miku would have been in all sorts from that turbulence of having his back shunted into. He's going to hold it though. And I don't know how much damage Spilly actually has. It's one of those quirks. He might not have barely any. We'll see down this straight. It's going to open the DRS, but Aaron's going to have it as well. He's falling behind a little bit. He might have damage. And now, because of all that, Aaron got his spot back. And Miku's held onto his, but he wouldn't have appreciated that love tap in the back gearbox from the Pink Panther racer of Spilly. And Samu just had an eyeful of that and was probably laughing to himself, hoping that they all took each other out. Very wide there was Miku. He's starting to feel the pressure a little bit maybe. That shunt has put him on a little bit of an edge. By contrast with the 3-second time penalty, he's getting some warnings there as well. 40 is now right at the back of By Contrast. He'll want to get past rather quickly. Let's just head back up there to make sure nothing happens with our championship contender here. It's a nice little overtake done there. No drama whatsoever. Zach Crichton though is 3.2 seconds, so it has cost him a little bit of time getting past Eye Contrast. And Miku's falling away to Zach, 6.6 seconds. All this battling is really costing all of them a lot of time. Let's see what I feel like there's a few more incidents in this one yet. As Spilly, he wants his position back. It was his error. But let's see what happens here. He hasn't come into the pit, so I don't think he has too much wing damage. He might have a bit of lime green. It will hurt him down the straight. A little bit in the corners, not too much. 40 with a 3-second time penalty. That's costly. As we know, I think Chapelele has one. We'll check that. We'll check it at lap 20. Miku, 3-second time penalty. He's cut that chicane. Easy to do on the right-hand side. Still so close to each other. It is exhausting being this close racing wheel to wheel, front to toe. And Samu's just been sitting pretty the entire time. I said that he was falling a little bit too far back. He needed to make sure he stayed within distance, and he's done that. And Swaggy's got past Plebs through all that commotion. So Plebs is now out of the points, which is not what Mercedes want. Even the few little points can mean the difference right at the end. You see Plebs struggling to keep up with Swaggy there. Jumper Linen's on a very alternate strategy. I'm not sure that's going to work out for him. It's costing him a lot of time. And Geordie just struggling a little bit, the other half right at the back of the grid. Crossy's still out there on 15 laps. Here he is. He's coming in now. Let's see where he comes out. I contrast this. Is he going to follow him in? We'll find out in a moment, or if he's going to go around again. No, I contrast is going to follow him in. So this will be your order to the end of the race, barring a safety car. We will need to get some moves done out on track. So 10 laps on these softs. We saw Chapelale was quite quick on 9 laps of them, so not out of the question to be quite rapid for most of it. But Crossy's come out behind Cliff, so Pev's back into the points. Crossy's going to want to have to catch him. 2.1 seconds at the moment. As we said, the Constructors' title up for grabs. These two are going to fight it out. Every little point will count, and it will matter at the end of the season. So Plebs is going to have to watch his mirrors. As Spilly gets past Miku, he's lost 2 positions there. As Aaron's managed to get past him as we were watching that pit. So I dare say that was down the straight. Aaron gets a 3-second time penalty, just trying to escape this little train that's behind him. So much pressure, it's just constant pressure looking in your rear vision mirrors the entire time. Hard to stay on point every single corner. 27 laps. There's a little bit of a breakaway here from Spilly. Swaggy's catching them very slightly, not a huge amount, very slightly. And Plebs is staying within touching range of Swaggy, which is what he needs to do to keep that DRS and keep his lap speed up. That DRS really does help. And he's going to need it because Crossy is gaining him quite quickly at the moment, down to 1.8. We'll head over to that battle shortly. We'll stay with this one because I feel like there's going to be some overtakes down this straight here, especially from Spilly. We've seen this battle a few times this race. What's he going to do here? So Aaron goes wide. Spilly's going to go down the outside. Aaron's going to try and defend. There's a fair bit of side to side there. Not much etiquette in terms of holding a straight line. And Spilly just says, you know what, I'm going right around the outside, buddy. And he goes all the way around the outside, kept his speed up coming out of that corner. Aaron's going to have another look, and there's going to be contact. Oh, so close to an incident there. I felt like that was contact for sure. Aaron probably just got out of the throttle just in time, knowing that he wasn't deep enough down to try and make that move, and Spilly's going to hold on to that position. But there could be a little bit of bad blood between these three. They've all jostled for position. There's been little touches here and there. Let's see what happens to the end of this race. So Crossy right behind Plebs now. Those softs are so much faster than those worn 8-lap hold mediums. Spilly gets a 3-second time penalty. That is not ideal for them. So what we'll do, we'll go back to this train up here because they're going to go down the straight. We'll see what happens. Then we'll flick down to Plebs and Crossy and see what they do. As they're catching up. They're not that far behind this little train. So Spilly's breaking away here. Aaron's not catching him down here, but Miku's going to make a little bit of ground on Aaron. And what Miku will want is for Aaron to fall out of that DRS zone of Spilly, so that will give him the DRS and Aaron won't have it. And that will give him a really good overtaking opportunity. But as we said, Swaggy's only 2 seconds behind this group now. If he catches up, and the others do as well, as we see Plebs has defended this nicely and he's holding on against Crossy. A few more laps to hold on and those softs will drop off a little bit and Plebs might gain a little the edge back again. But it feels like he's at the end of his rope here and Crossy's going to get a move done all over the back of the Mercedes. I don't want to miss the action between these guys though. It feels like an accident is pending. Can Crossy get it done down this straight? As I said, it's quite a difficult straight to overtake on. You're not sure where the other cars are going to be. And they're going to go wheel to wheel here. He's going to hold the inside line. And Plebs has to yield. And that's a good overtake from Crossy. Well done. And the next one in his sights is Swaggy, who's on much older, 4-lap older mediums than Plebs. So should get him as well. And then he'll be able to start chasing down this battle pack that's up ahead of him in Aaron, Miku, Sambo Pepito. Sambo Pepito's fallen out of range of Miku, but Miku, I wonder if Aaron got DRS there. He didn't. His wing is not open, so this is pretty good for Miku. He's going to be able to catch up. Not close enough to make a move on this one, but I feel like he will be able to on the next lap because Aaron is now outside of the DRS zone of Spilly. Pretty good race here. Race in sections, I guess. Chapelele's ripped away from 40. Zach can't catch up to 40 either. So those top three look nailed on at the moment. Spilly's 8 seconds behind the top three. If they don't make any mistakes, our championship contenders are going to finish on the podium. Chapelele will win the race, of course, and that will close the gap between them all. Only slightly. But still, the championship will definitely be still up for grabs heading towards the end of the season. Miku all over the back of Aaron still. I think he's going to get a move done down this next straight. I just feel like that's what's going to happen. Crossy's got past Swaggy quite easily as well. And now he's on the back of Sammy Pepito here. So this reverse strategy is working out really well for Crossy. Hasn't worked out as well for Eye Contrast. Just doesn't seem to have the pace that Crossy's had during this race. Let's see what Miku's able to do here. Aaron again weaves to the outside and then comes back on the inside. He can't come too far back on the inside and he manages to defend that position. And Miku is going to have to use all his wiles here to get past this. Red Bull is doing quite a bit of defending down that straight. Vigorous defending, if I do say so myself. 40 got a penalty there, so that is interesting. So while this is going on, let's have a little quick look at the race director. Let's go to incidents. So we have 5-second penalty, pure gold. That doesn't really matter too much. Swaggy, pure gold, pure gold. Aaron's got a 5-second time penalty. We remember that from the pit stop. Then Chapelele's got 3. Crossy's got 3. Swaggy 3. Pure Gold 3. 43. So Chapelele 40 both have 3. And then 40 is, so he's up to 6. Aaron's up to 8 there. Spilly 40's up to 9. So that's drama for our championship because Zach Crichton's going to overtake him. Definitely. And if he's not careful, Spilly's going to overtake him as well. So he really needs to race a clean race to the end here. Does 40 or he's going to lose too many points. And Zach will gain a little bit more of a lead. As let's see, is Miku still can't get it done down that straight with Aaron. It's almost at the point now where you want to maybe hold on to a fair bit of ERS, stay here, and then make the move on the last lap. Unless he is eyeing off Spilly as well, is down the road, but it could be that last lap move where they can't come back at them. Let's go back into our race cam here as Crossy is caught up to the back here. He's got past Sammy Pepito while we're looking at those penalties. And let's stay here because he's going to want to get past. This strategy's worked out brilliantly for Crossy and the Williams team. It's going to be really handy for their Constructors Championship, but he's going to want to get past here. Can't get it done there. Aaron's defending. Is there going to be a tag? Oh, he has to go very wide there, Miku. up to this tricky uphill blind chicane here. You just got to coast through there. You can lose the whole car feels a little bit unstable through that section if you don't take it properly. But here we go. Crossy's going to have some speed down here, I feel. He has a lot of ERS as well. So let's stay with this, and I expect the Williams driver to get past here. He's going to go down the inside and hold his line. Won't get the Red Bull as well. Mick is going to hold it through the corner, and he's pushing. Oh, and Crossy's completely lost it and hit the wall. Whether there was contact there, I'm not 100% sure. It must have been. You don't just turn right angled like that. There must have been some contact. Wheel to wheel through that section. He's hit the wall very hard. He'll be, yeah, he's missing most of his wing. Or a red wing, and that's it for Crossy for this race, and Plebs will move up. Important points for Mercedes in the constructor standings. But now Miku is still within touching distance of Aaron. Cost him a little bit of time there. Sammy Pepito is just a little bit too far back. So we're in a bit of a holding pattern now. No one's really close to each other. It'll be more about if Miku can catch back up to Aaron and then make a move down the straight. As we're on board here with Aaron in that green and purple helmet. He's had to fight very hard this race. He's been under attack, most of it from several different coloured cars. Spilly's got a good one here. He could be on for a podium if he can stay within that 7 seconds. Although I think he picked up a penalty just before. He might be on 6 because we know 40's got a few. Chapelele's sitting pretty out in front, that's for sure. And Zach Crichton, I don't think he has any. And yeah, Crossy's got the red mist, I think. He just went straight into the pits. There's not much you can do about that. Might be able to take the fastest lap off whoever holds it at the moment, which I'm not entirely sure. I've been keeping track of that one. There is a little bit of jostling down the back here as we see jump a line and 40, Geordie gets the overtake done. And it's jump a line and 15 lap old softs. I'm not sure what strategy he's going for there. He's completely lost it as he's kept it. He's very lucky not to be into the wall there, jump a line him. We're definitely spread out here as Miku gets the move done on the outside. They lock. Aaron locks. He's hit him. Has he? Looks like Miku had the lift off, but he's going to hold the inside. They're going to go very close here. This is a tricky section. Aaron's had to back out. Yeah, Aaron had to definitely back out there. Miku's got that move done. 2 laps left. I don't know if that's where you want to be with 2 laps left, because Aaron's going to have the DRS here with a little bit more ERS, a little bit more power. Does he take it here or does he wait 1 lap? I would wait 1 lap. I would not overtake him on this one. I'd overtake him on the next one, so there's limited opportunities to get you back. So Miku's having to use all of his ERS, and now Aaron's just going to go for it. Right round the outside, and he holds on to that one. So if I was Miku here, I would save my ERS this entire remaining lap. Staying within that 1 second, obviously. Save it all up, because you're going to have a go at him. This is lap 25, so there's still 2 laps left. So not the next lap, the very last one. That's the one where you want to make a move and checkmate your opponent. Very similar to sort of like a Germany, a Hockenheim, where you take them down that massive long straight and they can't overtake you for the rest of it. Swaggy, 5 second time penalty for Swaggy, that'll hurt. Gee, he must have cut a corner huge to get 5 seconds there. Sam Pepito's right behind him. It's a fairly consistent race there, Sam Pepito. Just clocking up the laps, minding his own business. As you see, he had that bird's eye view of that train for most of it. We'll stay with this. This is the main battle. Aaron and Miku, they've been back and forth most of the race. We've got 2 laps left. Chapelele looks to have held on to this win. unless he makes a grave error. 40 is the one who's going to be in a bit of trouble with penalties. And then Zach Crichton and Spilly are not too bad at all with their penalties either. And Aaron's broken away a little bit here. It doesn't feel like Miku's super close, but as I said, he might be saving it up. Looks like Aaron's saving it up as well. Both have about 30%. Swaggy's used all of his. Sammy Pepito's sitting pretty. If he can get right up the back of that Alfa Romeo, he'll be able to get a place as well. As we have Pepita. Let's go Miku. He's got some supporters. Every week Miku has supporters in the chat. They love it. They love the Haas. And let's see what Miku's able to do here as Crossy takes the fastest lap. We thought that was going to happen. I can't believe John Polline is going to the end. 17 lap old softs. Those softs must be about to fall apart. But here we go. Down this straight. Miku doesn't want to take him here either. He wants to do it down that big pit straight. Just got to stay close. He's got 46. See, Aaron's used a lot of his ERS and Miku's still right there. He's going to be able to full hot lap it down this back straight. Swaggy's jumped in the action as well, and so Sammy Pepito. We might get a grandstand finish for 5th and 6th here. Here we go. And they come around for the last lap. I'll just keep an eye on where Chapelele is because we want to give the honour to our race winner of going across the line on the stream. Miku and Geordie, Pupita's good friends. It's good to see both Haas drivers. It's gone very wide there. Miku's been pushed off the track. Aaron's touched wheels and he's lost the position to Swaggy as well. So that'll be spoken about after the race. Very interesting down there. Miku, a big cut across. He's held that position though. He's got a 5-second. Yeah, he's gained a place. A 5-second grid penalty. 5-second penalty. So he's going to lose all that anyway. 40's got another penalty. That's has championship type of consequences. But that Miku is, yeah, big 5-second penalty there. He's going to drop right back down near the end of this race. Chapelele, our race leader, he's coming around the final few corners now. Another really good race from the Renault driver. He stepped up his game the last 5 or 6 rounds, that's for sure. As I said, ever since Germany, he's been racing outstanding driving here. And another race win for Chapelele. 42nd, but he's going to drop. And let's see where he drops. Zach Crichton comes across the line. Now he goes ahead of him. Spilly is going to cross the line now, and he's not going to go ahead of him. So 40 holds on to that podium spot, but Zach Crichton grabs another couple of points. Miku's gone across the line, but he's going to drop down behind Samu and Plevs. And Aaron had a lot of penalties, remember, as well. So he's going to drop down to 8th. So Plevs keeps it clean, gets 6th. That's really important for the constructors' standings. After Crossy had his mishap, he was racing really well. Just all came unstuck for him there during that overtake down at turn 1. Swaggy 22 laps on those mediums. High contrast with the reverse strategy into 9th. He'll grab himself some points as well. Geordie 11th. And we have Crossy and John Polline. And just to finish off the race, I hope you enjoyed the Russian Grand Prix. Outstanding driving from Chapelele, Zach Crichton. My driver of the day will be a tough one. Chapelele was really good there. Strategy, he didn't get sucked into pitting when he didn't need to and went those extra few laps on those softs and still came out ahead of 40, so really well done. So, not surprisingly, the race winner gets my driver of the day, although we had some really good scraps in the middle pack there. Miku, Aaron, enthralling racing all the way through. But our championship contenders have taken home the podium spots. This is going to go right down to the wire as Chapelele makes up a few points. Not too many, but he only just needs one mishap in the next few races and he's right back in it. So he needs to really keep that pedal down to the floor and push these guys right to the end. I hope you enjoyed today's race. I certainly did. It was quite enthralling, as I said. There was a few battles in that mid-pack. Shepalele takes the win. Zach Crichton, no penalties, second. He jumped over 40, who had a fair few penalties in the end, in third. Then Spilly, Samo Pepito. Plevs, a solid race with no penalties either, in sixth. Then Miku, Aaron, who battled all race, probably cost themselves some penalties just from the battling. I contrast, Swaggy rounds out our point scoring positions. So we get 21 seconds of penalties. We have Geordie, he was lucky not to get disqualified, Swaggy. Then we have Geordie, Jumperline, and Crossy with that unfortunate incident. Pure Gold and Rhythms was unable to finish the race due to time constraints, I believe. Hope you enjoyed that race. We'll see you next week on the Race Spec Esports PS4 Elite Series. See you next time.